Welcome back to another episode of Day One Radio right here on Live Hip Hop Daily. Shout out to our people at CLNS Media as well for distributing the show. Man, this is our first show of 2018, man. Happy New Year. Well, we done told each other Happy New Year. But Happy New Year to y'all. Exactly. I don't know what the cutoff is. I guess anytime before February, you can still say Happy New Year.
Like if it's a person you ain't seen yet, I'm still telling folks Happy New Year they ain't seen yet. So
right, for sure, man. It's a lot going on out here, man. This is a no guest show, man. We just gonna chop it up with the family. Thank y'all for watching. Thank y'all for listening or whatnot. We was talking before we got on the air, like 2018, like as racist as things have been with your boy in office. And
your boy, that's what we calling him.
Shit before he got in office as well. Let's not get it twisted. It's been real black, man. Black Panther breaking records. We talking about the Black History Month. Nike shoes looking better than ever.
Right.
Might actually have to cop a couple pairs, man. It's a whole lot going on, but it's the Black Panther thing, man. I'm happy, but it's kind of weird that people are so excited about some shit we don't own to this degree.
Well, I mean, people are taking ownership of it because this is like the closest thing to I guess like a black superhero that folks have seen on the large screen. That's like in it. Not only is he actually black, like black, but it also feels like you own it because it had black director. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Mostly black cast. A diverse black cast at that, you know what I'm saying? Not just somebody like, you know what I'm saying? A lot of times the move would be they put one big name in it and a bunch of nobodies as the supporting cast. Like this is actually like a star-studded cast, so people are like taking ownership of it this time around. And you got people that, like me, don't really know much about comics.
I don't know nothing about comics
are
either.
really interested in seeing it. You know what I'm saying? So I think people are just proud.
I'm honestly, bro, like I'm gonna go see it because I always try to support when it's, you know, black cast, black directors or whatever. But like I know nothing about this story whatsoever. And I'm glad they say it's estimated to make $120 million the opening weekend, which would be the biggest opening for a Marvel film, which is saying a lot,
right?
Because Marvel be kicking ass. And
also
also
they don't put out no junk. You know what
the pre-sale tickets are nuts. Like it's been going crazy. So I'm gonna see it. I don't know if I'm gonna see it the first weekend.
Nah, I'm probably gonna do that old man lame move, like go the second weekend or go on the weekday after.
Or I might go to like the 10 a.m. Friday show.
Oh, you doing it like that?
Or 10 a.m. Sunday, bro. I don't like a bunch of people up on me, bro. Like I like to give me 5 feet. You know what I mean? And this is gonna be crazy.
Now this is gonna be reminiscent.
Or I might go see it in like Garnett County or some shit.
Right. Well, you might be the only black person in there.
That's where the Latinos and the Caucasians live. For those of y'all who don't live in Atlanta.
No, this is gonna be like reminiscent of like, remember back in the day when we would go to see movies like Boys in the Hood, Menace to Society, like any black movie that came out, you go to the hood movie theater and it'd be like a party in there.
Oh yeah, you gotta go see the movie again because you didn't hear half the lines.
Right. I think it's gonna be like that. You know.
But with movies, sometimes like that, the fun of it is the running commentary during the movie. I always said when DVDs was still popping, how they had the extras, like movies like that should have where you can put on the running commentary that they recorded in a black movie theater. You got the director's cut and you got the hood cut.
Man, that would have been perfect for Get Out.
Oh, hell yeah.
Because, you know, that would have been perfect for that. Because people that I know that haven't seen it yet, I'm like, man, you missing out. I mean, granted, you're going to enjoy it watching it on DVD or whatever, but if you didn't watch it with other black folks in the theater when it was out, like, you're missing out on half the experience.
So not the same at all. And while the night we're recording this, another DC Black Lightning comes on again. I know nothing about comic books. I just saw the what is it? I don't want to call it the commercial, and I was like, what is this bullshit that CW got coming on? Because the commercial looks absolutely corny as hell.
I had one Black Lightning comic book growing up.
Your daddy bought it for you?
Yes, he did. From the kiosk at South Decatur Mall. Like South Decatur Mall used to have this kiosk where they sold comic books and baseball, basketball cards. And I remember when he got it for me, I was like,
Who is Black Lightning?
Who is this? 'Cause off the rip, you're looking like, even as a black person, you're looking at, is this like the token? Is this like the black version of the actual, you know what I'm saying, real superhero? Like, what is this? But I remember flipping through it. I was like, this is actually pretty cool. Like, it didn't make me want to go dive into comic books. I never did. But I was like, I did enjoy, reading it because, the thing about black comics, and comics as a whole, like, particularly black comics, like, they always have some, like, savvy political undertones.
Well, I was reading USA Today gave it 3 out of 4 stars, and they said that unlike, because CW always has those DC joints, but they've always been geared towards young white, or they've had young white casts or whatever. The dude is, middle age, and they were saying there's a lot of socio-political themes throughout the whole joint. I guess they saw some preview episodes or whatever, but it's been getting good reviews, and I mean, it's perfect timing right now because, the Black Panther it's going to be people that accidentally watch that shit because they thought it was Black Panther.
There are probably people that are going to be
it's on
watching
TV already,
right, thinking they done came up. Like, bruh, I beat y'all to the punch. I got it on TV right now. Y'all slipping.
Right, exactly. So I don't know. I'm gonna check it out, man. I'm gonna see what it's looking like. But yeah, the preview, that commercial is so corny.
I've heard bad things. I've heard bad things about the commercial, good things about the show.
It looked like an updated Blank Man. You remember Blank Man, Robert Townsend?
No, you get we're getting mixed up.
Yeah.
Blank Man was Damon Wayans.
Who was Robert Townsend's superhero?
Meteor Man.
Meteor Man, there we go. It looked like both of them. It looked like Blank Meteor. That's what it looked like. Well, yeah, man, it's I don't know. I'm going to watch it. I'm going to try to support as well. And hopefully y'all watch it too. We don't get on TV that much, especially regular TV outside of ABC. You know what I mean? Right. And that's only, 1.5 nights. And they canceled that Mayor show.
I mean, I wasn't really expecting that to live long.
Apparently, that was Brandon T. Jackson's show.
Okay.
But something happened and he didn't get it. And when you people, the dude kind of looks like Brandon T. Jackson a little bit. But it was an all right show. I thought it was a cool thing. I think in like the 80s or something, it would have done really well. Stuff that gimmicky doesn't do super well no more. But
it's a trip, man, because seeing shows like that and then even seeing the way that we're talking about Black Panther being on the big screen and Black Lightning being on the small screen, it kind of all this energy around black leads kind of reminds me of this joke Chris Rock said about black quarterbacks years ago. He was like, you can tell we've moved forward as a society because we have enough black quarterbacks to where some of them can be garbage. There was a time where it's if you was a black quarterback, god damn, you had the whole race on your back. You had to be Warren Moon, you had to be Randall Cunningham. But in that era of Tony Banks, Aaron Brooks, it's man, we could afford to have whack ones. So it's not just saying oh man, this show done got canceled, that show was whatever. It's a trip saying that we actually are kind of deep enough to the point where it's okay, not every black show has to be oh man, we are riding on this. This the only one, it's our only shot. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
That's real. That's real. I mean, and then you have so many television channels, and then you have YouTube where it's a whole bunch of shows on there as well. And also wonder because Issa Rae she got I guess 2 more shows greenlit or in production on HBO, and I was like, why do we keep looking at TV as the goal when there are millions and millions of people who don't watch TV?
So what are you saying? People should be using what instead of
TV? The on-demand stuff. When I say on-demand, I don't mean on-demand on your cable. I mean on-demand programming, whether it's YouTube, Netflix, Hulu, Amazon, whatever, direct to consumer. Essentially, we're cutting out the middleman and just signing the distribution deal. Because I'm I was thinking about this because this past weekend I was in New Orleans covering the Call of Duty World League esports thing for Pro Day, the 9 to 5. So I'm like, I was talking to one of the cats because there's an E-League not TV show that TBS does, which is pretty cool because it brings like personality to the players and all of that stuff and gives up a lot of game on that. But then on the flip side, I'm like, you know, Major League Gaming is huge, and they got purses like the winner of just that 3-day joint in New Orleans got $200,000 for playing a game for 3 days.
What I mean, like, to answer your original question, I think the reason so many people still look at TV as the goal, it depends on how, like, your lens. Like, so, for instance, like, if you're a person that is savvy enough and even just aware enough to know of those other options, more than likely, you're going to be targeting a very niche crowd. Like, if you're making a black show and it's going to those outlets, it's probably only going to be watched by black people. But with TV, you know, there's still that allure or that illusion of mainstream acceptance being in every home, not just black homes. You know what I'm saying?
And you're absolutely right, because it's the illusion and the allure, because the internet is everywhere, because it's on everybody's phone. Mm-hmm. It's just how to market it and get it to those people so they're aware that it exists. Because, bruh, I'm pretty sure it's not too many non-black people watching Tales at the end of the day. Like, I think he did the numbers. If Tales was like, this is going to be a Hulu or Amazon exclusive, or we're pushing it through Vivo, or we're pushing it through Tidal, I'm pretty sure the numbers would be comparable.
But also consider this.
It's just the budgets.
Consider this. Like, I know everybody says everybody's on mobile. Like, I'm assuming that you still have a population of people that when it comes down to budgeting their entertainment budget, they're like, look, I'm paying this amount that I'm comfortable with for my cable TV, and I'm getting all this. And they are not fond of being surprised of damn data overcharges because they're on Hulu on their phone watching hella shows.
Everybody got the unlimited plan now because Verizon was the last of the Mohicans. So I don't even think that's it. And then I'm also, bro, let's keep it 100. Like, my mama and daddy, your mama and daddy is not watching the stuff that people are trying to get deals for, young black people are trying to get deals for on TV. Like, you're really going after what they call millennials, and them niggas ain't got cable.
True that.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, at the end of the day, so that was just a random ass thought that I had, but I wondered, why that is the goal. But I guess it's because we've been taught that you get on TV, it's more eyes. That ain't necessarily the case, because like the mayor, they got on TV and they lasted like 8 episodes and didn't make it through the break to come back. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, that's just kind of what it is, bro. But, you know, we hadn't recorded a show in a couple weeks, man. And during that time, we lost one of our colleagues, man, like Reggie Osei, who a lot of y'all know as Combat Jack, and rest in peace to him. That definitely, I know when I came up with the idea and presented it to you and Nadine to do this podcast, like, I had thought of doing a podcast before I even knew what the Combat Jack show was. I was listening to podcasts before I even knew what a podcast was. Josen Cummings, we was on the train one day. I was like, what are you listening to? He was like, oh, man, this dude Tariq Nasheed. And he was like, and I was like, oh, what's up with him? And he told me, and I went on my iPod at the time, because I wasn't doing an iPhone, and found how I could listen to it and started listening to that, started listening to, Pardon the Interruption, started listening to Tony Kornheiser's radio show, because they were just porting it over. So I was like, we should do something like this back when I lived in New York and I was at Double XL, but I didn't know what it was. You know what I mean? But then who really inspired me, like, oh shit, we can actually do this, was listening to the Combat Jack show. And that was just, we all hung out with him when he was here for A3C. And the last time I saw him was at at the Griselda showcase, because I believe they had a large part in putting that together. I know A. King was kind of running point on it. Shout out to him and, the rest of the folks over at Loudspeakers. But, like, I didn't know he was sick. I could tell something was wrong or whatever, because we had a few conversations, but then, like, he put it out there that he was sick or whatnot, and I thought he was going to be straight. Talking to mutual friends pretty regularly about it, I just figured he was gonna be good. You know what I mean? So when he died, that really hit me. And I know at this point it's old news, man, but we'd be remiss without, sending condolences and prayers to his family as well as his crew or whatnot. And it's actually, I believe this week they're doing the final episode of Combat Jack Show. I know they recorded it last week at Dallas Premium Pete and Just Blaze, and they had Jamila Lemieux on there and D. Dot, aka the Mad Rapper. And this Saturday, they're actually doing a show, because he was like always talking about house music, like he loved house music. So I know Just is spinning. I can't remember who else is spinning, but if you guys go on my Instagram, Brandon BRANDENLSK. I put the flyer up. Just Blaze has it up on his page as well. And it's, it's people should go out and support. That man had 4 kids, dog. You know what I'm saying? Like, and 53 is very young. If your pops is 53, like, can you imagine how different your life would be if your dad died when he was 53?
Man, like, for me, that's me just entering adulthood, where you were really actually starting to appreciate your pops at the highest level.
Same here.
How did you do this? Especially if they had kids around the age that you were at that time. You're like, bruh, I'm out here struggling alone. How did you do this with mouths to feed? You know what I'm saying?
Right. I would have been in my mid to late 20s, if my pops passed when he was 53. So that's tough, but I said all that to say, if if you're not in New York and you can't make it to the joint, that all the proceeds are benefiting his children, you can go on GoFundMe / Combat Jack and donate, man, because that's rough, bro. And that man paved a path. He wasn't the first to do a podcast. He wasn't even the first to do a hip hop podcast, but he was the one that took it to the next level. Right. And he definitely was an inspiration to me. I can't speak for Nadine and Maurice, but he was definitely an inspiration for sure. And he he was in the game, bro. We've had some conversations that can't be shared on the air about things that happened, during them hip hop times. Yeah. You know what I mean? That are crazy. So
it's such a vessel to be lost. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, man.
Such a vessel.
Salute to him, man, for sure. Most definitely. That's a hard one, bro. That's a hard one. Have you been paying attention to hoop at all, man? I know you a Hawks fan, and this has not been the best season to pay attention to. I'm not even trying to clown. I'm just saying,
man. It's like I paid.
They did beat the Spurs.
Yeah, it's like. We get some good moral victories here and there, you know what I'm saying? But I've been following it a little bit, not as close as I used to, because at the end of the day, man, for the last few years, the NBA has felt like, remember when you used to play Tecmo Bowl and you had it on season mode and you just let the simulation play? That's what the NBA has felt like for like at least the last 3-4 years. Like, you know who's going to end up in the finals. So every game during the regular season, you're just like, this is just taking up space on the TV for advertisements. You know what I'm saying? So, like, we know who's going to end up in the finals every year now. So I keep up with highlights.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I see how close my Hawks came to winning a particular game. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I asked you because I know that you've cut the cord too, so you probably ain't watching ESPN like that. But late on the Monday night, the NBA's annual MLK Day slate of games, the Clippers played the Rockets.
Oh, yes.
Man, listen. And the Rockets, I believe the Rockets lost. James Harden has been out 7 straight games, so without him, it's pretty much a wrap for them. So the Clippers, I guess, was feeling themselves. Blake Griffin throwing balls at cats and bumping cats, and apparently Glenn Rivers, that's what I call him, the Clippers coach, was like allegedly being real belligerent on the sideline. And at the end of the game, when Blake Griffin got ejected, he said he yelled "F you" at Houston's coach, and it just got real cantankerous. And Clint Capella, apparently the big center for the Rockets, after the game went and knocked on the front door of the Clippers locker room.
What?
And one of the staff members, who was a lady, came and opened it and then closed it. Like, nah, bruh. So he kept it pushing, which you would think that would be the end of the shenanigans. But no. Allegedly, Chris Paul, who played for the Clippers for many years, knew a back way into the visitors' locker room. And he led his band of teammates. I think it was Trevor Ariza and injured James Harden. And I can't remember what other player, into the locker room and confronted the other players. Nobody swung, nothing happened. So I don't know why you run up in somebody's locker room if you ain't gonna do shit.
Right.
And apparently Chris Paul was like in the cut as Trevor Ariza was the first person through the door. And I'm just like, bro, this is some real clown shit, man.
That's almost some sucker shit. It's like, I get that you don't rock with that squad anymore. Y'all did not part amicably or whatever, but I mean, can you, like, that just sounds like a sucker scene. Like, oh man, I know the back door to the locker room. We can go get them, bruh. Let's go get them. It's like, that shit sounds so lame. You know what I'm saying? It's like grown ass professional basketball player using secret tunnels and doorways to get a sneak attack on him.
And you're not gonna do nothing. So what is the purpose of doing it? So you can confront them. At least if that's the case, just wait at the bus. Like, you not gonna do. And isn't Chris Paul, or he is or was, like the president of the players,
the union.
The union. So I'm like, that's not a good look. Like, you represent these dudes, or you used to. At least, like, that's just like you said. That's kind of like some sucker shit. And I've always heard, there's always rumblings of Chris Paul not being the most liked player in the NBA. But
he's like he's this generation's Isaiah Thomas.
Without the rings.
Yeah, without the rings, obviously.
Or the playoff success. Or the game. Isaiah Thomas, one of the best point guards of all time.
He's the little dude that nobody likes, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
The guy that's always smiling, but be doing dirty shit.
I think they didn't like Isaiah because Isaiah be busting their ass, too. It's one thing to be disliked and you suck or you're average. It's another to be disliked and you're damn good. And you got a bunch of goons that got your back because they was putting hands and feet on fools back then. But, man, yeah, that's just insane to me. I don't understand it at all. But what I was thinking was, this is also a good way to create a rivalry and make people watch in the NBA. Because if the Rockets and the Clippers meet in the playoffs, that's going to be must-see TV. Because they tried to make the Clippers and the Warriors a rivalry.
That did not work.
Not a rivalry. They've won like once in the last 12 games. They tried to make the Rockets and the Warriors a rivalry because of that one close series they had, but the Warriors have been washing them ever since. You know what I mean? So, and then you can't really make the Warriors and the Spurs a rivalry because every time they play, somebody is hurt or they sit all the players. You know what I mean? Because they don't want to show the hand coaching-wise. So, I mean, I'm damn sure if they play again in the regular season, I'm damn sure going to watch the Clippers-Rockets game because I want to see what happens. And I don't like the Clippers. So
it's going to be like new Pistons-Pacers.
Yeah, exactly. Just mediocre teams that have some talent, and we'll see what happens. But, I mean, let's be real. If James Harden is healthy, the Clippers get washed.
Oh, yeah.
At the end of the day. They're terrible. At the end of the day.
Their window is definitely closed.
Oh, yeah. They need to go ahead and get rid of Glenn. I know people like him, but he's probably the most overrated coach in the NBA to me. I don't understand why people think. You don't get a nickname unless you've earned it.
I mean, he got the nickname from his playing days.
What did he do in his playing days?
That dude goes all the way back to, like, Chicago ball, man. I mean, let that
You
man,
just like him because he used to be a Hawk.
I mean, He's far from my favorite Hawk. Now, I mean, I got like a list of Hawks that I liked before Doc Rivers. You know what I'm saying? But, let that man have his nickname, man.
I guess. To me, you got to earn nickname. He hasn't earned it. I cannot remember anything spectacular that Glenn Rivers did as a player or a coach. The best thing he did was making his son a multimillionaire. And you can't knock that.
Sounds like you just have no respect and damn near dislike
He's
for this
overrated.
man.
I don't dislike him. He's overrated. He's super overrated at the end of the day. That's just my take. Have you kept up or do you have an opinion on this Aziz Ansari thing? If you don't know, there's a young lady who went to a website or blog that no one had heard of until that day.
Her internet pseudonym is Grace. That is the name she is using.
That's not her real name.
It's not her real name.
Okay, so she used a story. I'm sorry. She told a story saying that Aziz Ansari was a little aggressive with her one night after a date when they went back to his Tribeca home, right. And she told him, to chill out. It wasn't cool, and he chilled out, and that was that. So apparently she was fine with it, and then the next day decided she was upset. That's what I'm hearing now. Do I have the facts correct?
Well, one of the key details is, and this is why surprisingly so many women are jumping to his defense, is one, she did not get up and leave after she stated she felt uncomfortable. Most times, when you hear of these situations where somebody like, I felt uncomfortable, so I left. Mm-hmm. She did not leave. So even after he said, all right, cool, we can just chill, her not leaving has obviously made him think, well, I'm going to try something one more time. You know what I'm saying? Which he did. And again, she was like, no. And then
in those situations, you're not a good guy if you like, well, get the hell out. Because that's not cool. You know what I mean? Right. It might have been cold. The trains might not have been running on schedule. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, maybe this happened in September of last year.
Yeah, like it's and that's not cool. So they're both kind of in an awkward situation. But yeah, I guess when you got a lot to lose like he does, if you feeling like this ain't cool, then you need to be like, hey, I'll call you a cab or I'll call you an Uber. Hey, I spring for the Uber Black. Mm-hmm. I got bread. You know what I'm saying? And she can get on about her business. But yeah, I think one of the reasons that I feel like if this was like Cat Williams and it was the same exact story, no one would have came to his aid. But because this is Aziz Ansari, and he's looked at as a nice guy.
That might be apples and oranges.
Okay, if it was D-Ray Davis. Somebody that's a little edgy.
I don't think we would see a lot of white women coming to his defense, but I don't think everybody would have jumped down D-Ray Davis' throat like, oh, you too. You know what I'm saying? Folks would have saw some of the holes in, so I don't want to call them holes. I mean, it did happen, you know what I'm saying? But just some of the inconsistencies in how the story was presented and be like, sounds like you just had a rough night, a bad date. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? It don't sound like this was Harvey Weinstein.
Damn sure was Harvey Weinstein. You know what I'm saying? Or Matt Lauer. Matt Lauer had a trap door in his dressing room.
Dr. Claw on their ass.
Yeah, he was tripping.
And then the thing about how this story was presented too, with the earlier accusations, it seemed like those stories were like connected to something, to where it's like, hey, you got to do this if you want to get here.
Right.
You got to do this if you want to get there, or rise up here, or keep this. This was two people out on a date.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Grant, we don't know everything that was discussed. Like, she did expose that, she was an aspiring photographer and these things. She met him at an industry party and all those kind of things. But it wasn't presented like, oh, man, he told me he was going to put me in the new season of Master of None if I did this favor. You know what I'm saying? It seemed like two people, consenting adults, were on a date. You know what I'm saying? And, of course, throughout the story, at the end of the day, in layman's terms, like, dude was trying to fuck. Like, they met, they texted a few times. She wound up back in town. He was like, yo, what's up? Dude was trying to fuck. He ordered dinner. They flew through dinner. It's like, check, please. Let's go back to my house. Like, dude was trying to fuck. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And it's like Too Short said, that era might be over. The era of trying to fuck is over because
you kind of got to get chosen.
Yeah, like you're going to get a whistle blown on you if you do anything remotely. You know what I'm saying?
There's actually an app. I don't know if it's real or not. I saw it on social media, but there's some kind of an app that's supposed to be like, do you consent to this sexual situation?
That sounds like some Black Mirror shit, man. I hope you don't get to the point where it's like...
I still haven't watched Black Mirror. I still haven't watched it. I need to watch it, though.
You know, but like this situation is like... The thing that interested me was just like how many people came to his defense, which actually, you know, I think is a good thing. Because, I mean, I don't think we should fall down this rabbit hole of like every time somebody blows a whistle...
Yep.
The person has to be demonized.
It should be a case-by-case thing, man. Like, if it seemed like it's true, cool. And honestly, at the end of the day, people just need to mind their goddamn business and legal. We have a justice, quote-unquote, system for a reason. You know what I mean? Like,
and then that's the thing, too. These other cases, like, you know, correct me if I'm wrong, but, like, legal actions were taken or considered. This was more so sounded like
I think it was settlements. Larry Nassar, who deserves to burn in hell, his thing was legal, but I think the only reason initially he ended up going to trial was because he had child porn situations. But that dude has, you know, molested, I believe, like hundreds of athletes, and there's several outlets or schools or organizations that tried to like cover it up. You know what I mean? So situations like that, there's legal stuff, but ain't nobody got hit with the barrage of legalities like Bill Cosby did. Like, that dude is still the bar for dirtbag in these situations. Whether you agree with it or don't agree with it, they ran him through the ringer, and I guess Weinstein is second.
Right.
And now it's like you hear about it and then it goes right out the news. So, because they talking about 45 and all the dumb shit he be doing at the end of the day. Oh, with the Black Panther thing, one thing I forgot, dude, what's up with the soundtrack? Like, are you looking forward to it? I'm like damn near looking forward to that more than the movie.
When I saw the track list, let's pull it up, because...
Oh, I haven't even seen the track list, and I just saw a couple songs. It's a real track list?
Let me see if it's like, I know TDE is the one they're producing.
Well, I know so far we have the All the Stars song which is really SZA featuring Kendrick Lamar, because she's on it more than he is, and then you got King's Dead with J-Rock, Future, Kendrick, and I want to say Mike Will or something, but J-Rock kills that shit. Like, he's back in form.
No track list is out, but the news is that, you know, TDE has produced it, and it's like, it's the first movie soundtrack that I've seen interest in a very long time. Cause that used to be the 1-2 punch for black movies. It's like, drop the soundtrack and the movie. You know what I'm saying?
the playlist or the new soundtrack.
True.
And then it doesn't take as much, because honestly, soundtracks a lot of times were 4 or 5 really great songs and then a bunch of stuff that didn't make people's albums. So now it's so easy to put out music and distribute it to the masses that people keep their songs. You know what I mean? Or the songs are far worse than they were before.
Right.
But and then Isaiah Rashad and Kendrick, apparently I saw that too on Hot New Hip Hop, that Isaiah Rashad and Kendrick have a song together.
Wow.
So it sounds like this is going to be like pretty much just a TDE compilation with a few guests. I wish it would have been the Black Hippie album. That would have been incredible, but I don't think that's ever going to happen.
Nah, like it's pretty late in the game for that to happen. I think that can only happen if Kendrick gets bored.
Yeah.
And just like, I have time on my hands now.
The thing is, they bring out the best in each other so much. Like, they don't have, what all 4 of them are on something, they don't have anything that's whack. All of them have been stellar. You know what I mean? So, we'll see, bro. We gonna see what's what. So, we appreciate y'all listening, appreciate y'all watching. Make sure that you follow us on Day One Radio, DAY, the number 1 and radio. And Pay close attention. Finally, Apple Podcasts, which used to be iTunes, has allowed us to access data. And a lot of y'all listen every week, and I appreciate it. But the numbers of subscribers versus the numbers of listeners, I'm not feeling that shit. We need more subscribers, damn it. If you listen to us every week, you go and search for the shows and all of that, you need to subscribe. I need to see them numbers go up immediately. If you don't know how to subscribe, just Google it. If you go on the Apple Podcast app on your phone, everybody has one on the iPhone. It's the purple app. Go and find it. Search Day One Radio like you already do. And hit subscribe. Also, review and rate us while you're there. We need them subscriber numbers to get up. Just let that thing come to your phone automatically every Thursday. That's what we like. And tell a friend to tell a friend, yo. We'll holler at y'all next week. Peace.
Before y'all go, though, can I ask y'all a question?
What's happening?
Did y'all see the numbers of the streaming that Nipsey Hussle?
Yes. Shout out to Neighborhood Nip for putting the game out there.
I wanted to hear y'all opinion.
I don't think that's the numbers for everybody, though. I don't think that Jay-Z or Kanye or Beyonce or Rihanna gets the same amount of money per stream that Nipsey or J-Rock or whatever does. And his might be more, his might be less. He got less people in his pocket than they do. But I don't think it's an even ball game across the mark. I don't know, though. I would have to ask somebody who works in the music business now, but I don't think that's the case. What you think?
I think his are going to be different because, like you said, less people in the pocket. Like, he's a very direct-to-consumer operator. You know what I'm saying? So it's like there's going to be less people taking out royalties and charges for this because, you got people that charge for, hey, man, I put it on Spotify for you. You have to pay me. You know what I'm saying?
Yep. Exactly. Because there's a lot of that going on, man. Yo, if y'all are artists out there, producers, singers, rappers, whatever, man, just do the research. There's so much game out there that's free game. Stop getting got by people that are just being your middleman. This shit ain't necessary. If you got a fan base, you got a fan base at the end of the day. There's so many rappers out there you never heard of that are literally eating and like they have, mid-level executive jobs off of their music. So it's a brave new world out there. And get this streaming money while you can, because it's a couple things that they ain't tightened up on the paperwork, and shit finna change real soon. So pay attention. But once again, we appreciate y'all listening. This is Day One Radio. Follow us on Twitter, Instagram, MySpace, Me, Hente, everything else that y'all on. We'll holler at you next week.